Welcome to the market update Thanksgiving special. We're starting things off here on the SPY daily chart. As you can see, as hopefully you know, we've just been kind of moving straight up for the last several days in a row. We have gotten above this critical level, being the highs of where the China sell-off happened, and officially flipped the charts out of the daily downtrend by getting above these highs. Um, with that in mind, uh, today, Wednesday, day before Thanksgiving, we did manage to clearly break above and close above that level. I want to note that it was on low volume. As you can see up in the corner of my screen here, 0.8% of normal volume. So the other thing to make note of is that we are above the expected move high of 673.99. I can say for the last several weeks, whenever we have gotten above or below the expected move, when Friday came along, for some reason or another, markets pushed us back to that expected move. Doesn't mean that's what's going to happen this time. It wouldn't be my base case based off price action, but it is a phenomenon that I've seen happen quite a bit recently. So, with looking at the daily chart, I think the most logical route forward would be a pullback to retest these China highs and then continue higher, something like that. We could also just continue higher this way. I mean, as of right now, things are looking set to, perhaps we get a rally, our Christmas rally. But, who knows? Things could happen. This is mostly based on the idea that the Fed is going to cut interest rates. Probabilities are like 80 something percent now. But all that without any current inflation data. And I can't help but think about how every time Jerome Powell speaks, he always is saying it's data dependent. And then he also said December's rate cut is not a foregone conclusion. So I think this next FOMC meeting coming up December 10th is pretty suspenseful for a lot of reasons. I think we've really moved higher based on comments from certain people in the Fed saying that they think interest rates should be cut. We did gap up overnight on SPY. We're now on hourly chart. We left just a tiny piece of that gap open and pretty much moved straight up all day. So the pathing I gave before, I think is the most logical pathing. If for some reason we fall back into here, then I would definitely look at that as a look above and fail and look to target back down. But otherwise, I would just be looking for bounces off these previous highs, something like that, or even just straight up continuation higher. We'll go ahead and take a glance at the QQQ chart. There is, still plenty of tech and semiconductors, things like that, that are still struggling. NVIDIA is still not in a place where it's, definitely looking to recover just yet. So I think there's still some charts out there struggling. QQQ just this morning did barely break above these highs and then stalled out above. So, depending on what semiconductors are going to do, tech's going to do, I can see this going two ways. One, we fall back into there, which would obviously be bearish. I would probably short I would probably short looking for, you guessed it, the expected move high. That would probably be a good place to short if we fall back into this range Friday to target for a short, that is, if not further down. Um, the other probability, maybe we get consolidation here and then continue higher. That would be good. Um, or obviously we have this straight up move higher is the other option. Those are kind of the three pathways I could see on QQQ that I'd be willing to participate in. Let's take a look over at NVIDIA. I don't have any trade ideas per se on NVIDIA, but I do want to look at the chart because it is obviously very important. Zoom in a little. Actually, let's zoom back out. We're below this 184.75 level, where's all this junky price action over here. I think as long as we're below that level, we really have nothing to do on NVIDIA until we can break back above that level with a higher low, something like this. Then, then that's where things get cooking on NVIDIA, and that's where I would get interested in taking longs. Other than that, I am not participating in NVIDIA at all unless it has a major disaster and comes back down below 165, then I would be interested on the short side there. So in this range, no thanks, I'm good. Let's take a look at Microsoft. So on Microsoft, it had that daily double top. We sold off. Here's what I like about Microsoft. It hit the daily 200 SMA, then gave us a nice hammer candle right off of that. Buyers saw that. Looks like they liked it. They gapped up, started to close that gap today. Did not close at all. Kind of left a bullish looking semi-hammer, semi-doji candle on the daily chart there. If we take a look at the hourly chart, wow, we can really see that I'm zoomed in too far for one, and number two, that it would kind of flat topped all afternoon there. So I think the paths I would be looking for on Microsoft, probably something like this, consolidation, continuation here for some type of flag, then a higher low above 488.75. I would definitely look to take that long. Might even just target this high right here. Um, Otherwise, fall back into the gap, look for maybe a gap fill reversal that went something like this, and then take that long, something like that. We'll move on to the next chart. Uh, Next, let's take a look at, let's look at AVGO. Broadcom has had amazing relative strength the past few days. I do believe it picked up new all-time highs. Yes, it did. This is the weekly chart. I clearly see the weekly chart screaming in an uptrend. We broke above this previous all-time high at 386.48. So on Broadcom, I am definitely looking for continuation. When you break out of a big range like that, you typically want to target the range double, which would be up here at 422.03. So, assuming this breakout can continue, and I have faith that it may continue. Almost everything was very low volume today on holiday trading volume. Broadcom, not so much, 1.25%, 125% of its average 30-day volume, which is good on a breakout candle, especially when the candle closes near the highs. It's a big green bodied bar. That's a good sign that we may get continuation on the breakout. So I would look for maybe a pullback to this previous overnight all-time high, 392, and a continuation longer, something like that. A pullback even to 386.48 would be good to continue longer. And heck, I would even consider one all the way back to 372.25 to continue higher. Um, Moral of the story, the other way is, higher low over yesterday, high a day, obviously the riskiest path. You want pullbacks, but doesn't mean that's what you're going to get. Higher lows over yesterday, high a day could definitely continue it longer. No matter what, though, the way this chart looks right now, I would look for continuation longer. The only way that I would stop thinking that would be below 372.25, then I would probably change my tone on that there. So 372.25 is the line in the sand when it comes to Broadcom for levels that it can pull back to for continuation. Let's take a look at Google because Google has also just been rocking. Um, so we had this previous range here. We've clearly broke out of that and far more than doubled it at that point, at this point. So that kind of makes me want to look at the hourly chart. We are kind of at risk here of possibly creating a head and shoulders, which, could set us up for an hourly chart pullback. Maybe that would look something like this. And then we fill this gap and then go gap fill reversal back to the long side, something like that. If and when we do fill this gap, I would definitely be looking for buyers to step up on this 303.90 to continue it back higher. Um, Other path that I could see, maybe we consolidate here for a while. That would definitely be okay. It would be bullish consolidation and then a higher low above 324 to target the all-time high and then above the all-time high to continue higher. I think both of these paths are completely reasonable and what I would certainly be looking for when it comes to Google. And that's GOOGL, not GOOG as far as the charts we're looking at. But, they're pretty much the same, just slightly different numbers. My next chart I want to take a look at is IBM. Let me switch over to the daily chart, just so I can try and remember exactly what it is I was looking at here. We had big breakout here, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, actually lower low in relative to this bull flag over here, which might mess things up a little. Um, we had kind of an inverted head and shoulders, this kind of being the neckline at 299.17. Looks like we did pull back to that level yesterday and then continued higher. So I think the base case, if we can do it, would be consolidation under 307.22, holding above 299.17. I'd probably consider that bullish. Any higher low above 307.25 to go long. Um, Probably not any other paths that I would be interested in at this point on IBM. Let's take a look at Amazon. As you can see, we have this somewhat kind of a double bottom here, even though this bottom went quite a bit further down. Then we broke above 227, so the next logical move would be a pullback to 227 to continue higher. So I am just looking for a pullback of 227 where I can clearly see that buyers are stepping in at that level, and then I would be interested in continuing long on Amazon. Next, let's take a look at AMD. AMD has, as of today, has this double bottom that is in the midst of forming. It is not confirmed yet. Do you know why it is not confirmed? Basically because it needs to come above, pull back, and retest the level to confirm the double bottom. But if and when that happens, that would be exactly how I would be interested in taking AMD long. Considering the daily 50 SMAs there, I would probably look for it something like that, higher low above the daily 50 SMA, targeting 226.65. Ignore that it says above here long. That's old. I should probably clean it up, but that's the path I'm looking for on AMD. Let's take a look at DELL. Okay, Dell is interesting because it pretty much had this double top and then sold straight off, and then bam, the 200 daily SMA catches it. We opened on a gap up today, pulls back, fills the gap, then gap fill reversal, and then has this hammer doji-ish bullish candle left on the daily chart. So the paths I would be looking for on Dell, a handful of ways this could play out. One would be continue some consolidation here, which we don't get involved in. But if that does continue, then wait for a higher low above 136.96 or 137, just for an even number. Um, the other way, if it pulled back to here and buyers stepped it up or we got a double bottom, probably be interested in that. Same thing at 125.50. Uh, take a look at Walmart. Walmart is something I've been trading all week long and just killing it. Uh, I really killed it on Walmart and Disney over the last several days and maybe a day or two of last week. But Walmart, just awesome. I was looking for a retest off this 104. Almost certain I shared that trade idea before it happened. Um, that's absolutely what you can see happened here. It pulled back, retested 104 and went long. We were looking target new all-time highs. It did hit new all-time high today by literally a penny, maybe. So I'm definitely looking for this thing to continue. Uh, two paths for continuation. The best path pulls back to 108, and then maybe we get some type of hammer candle right there. And then I take a break off the high of that hammer candle, right? To go long. And then breaks to new all-time highs, higher low above the all-time high at 109.50. I would also go long there. Honestly, if it just ripped out of the gate Friday and went like this, I would probably take a long right there. Um, I don't see why I wouldn't. Sometimes that fails, but I don't think it's gonna. That's the day after Black Friday, maybe Friday, or no, it is on Black Friday. I mean, I haven't looked at the historical price action of Walmart on Black Friday. My gut says that it's probably bullish, but not even considering the fact that it is Black Friday, I think Walmart's a great one to be looking at right now. Definite, definite one that you want on your radar. I also have in my notes ticker AKAM, and I can't even recall what that is. Economy. I don't know anything about this stock. I've never traded it, but it came up in a scan and I liked it, and I need to zoom out further to try and get a remember why I like this. Okay. It has a gap above. We can see that. It has a breakout from earnings here. And then is in the process of creating a higher low. We have several days of just really junky price action you can see. This is the daily chart. Um, but we do have this big gap above us. And then the other thing I like is we have this kind of engulfing green bar and then this red bar that covers a little less than half of that day. And that setup right there is called a bullish three-bar play. So in theory, on a bullish pre-bar play, three-bar play, what we'd be looking for is just a break above this yesterday's high a day, higher low, and then continuation higher. Now, I want to respect the fact that all three of these candles have failed over here, but we broke a new low over here and then we've continued straight up ever since. Then this candle gives me the idea that, you know, there's been a change in character right there. So that might be the way to play it. The other way that you could play it would just be a higher low into the gap and then be looking to fill that gap. I don't know if we're looking to fill the whole gap. Let's take a look to the left, see if we can see anything that might get us caught up. Maybe target that, just to be on a little bit of the safer side, 94.13. And the other thing I liked about this was a bounce right off the 200. It recovered all three of the major daily moving averages on this breakout. Um, let's, and I don't have volume showing, but if we do show volume, equities, show volume. Yeah, oh, there was definitely a decent increase in volume on the breakout day, and then quite a bit of volume on this candle right here too. And we've broken back above that candle that did have high volume, so I don't think it was any type of capitulation or anything because we've already gotten back above it. So, I like this chart. I don't know anything about the stock though. I've never traded it, so I can't vouch for it, but let me set an alert because I think I want to trade it. But of course, this is not financial advice at all. That said, hope everyone has a wonderful day off from the market. And if you do Thanksgiving, have a great time with all that. Markets will be open on Friday from 9:30 to 1 p.m. Eastern time. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. If you're not journaling your trades, you absolutely should be. Um, and if you don't know how to journal your trades and use the data to journal your trades and use them in a helpful way, can I suggest visiting strategyforgejournal.com? Use code Friday, I believe through the end of the month, get 50% off the yearly plan, which ends up making it like $14 a month or something like that. So, super cheap considering TradeZella is now what? It's either 50 or 70 a month. I can't remember. Let's see how much TradeZella is because I know that Strategy Forge does everything TradeZella does and actually has even more than that. TradeZella's pricing is you need the Pro. Let's see. Monthly. So that's the annual 49 a month for the normal, 50% off for Black Friday. Well, same thing at strategyforgejournal.com. Um, let me log out. Pricing over here, 14 days free. Another thing TradeZella doesn't have, 14 days free. And then normal price $24.99 a month or $249.99 a year. Use code Friday, split those prices by 50%. And look, 50% cheaper than TradeZella and more features. All right, I'm going to stop trying to sell it to you. Have a good one. I am out. Like, follow, subscribe, share your trade ideas, say what's worked, say what isn't, ask questions. I'm here. All right, bye.